Welcome to the Right Hand Roadmap, the podcast for seconds in command of founder-led companies. I'm your host, Megan Long, owner of Second First. In each episode, we show you the path to success on your journey as the #2 leader in entrepreneurial companies. I am so happy you are here. Today's episode is going to be a shorty episode, but we are going to cover 3 simple phrases to add to your toolbox as a second-in-command leader and a busy executive. Each of these 3 phrases are responses that I want you to get comfortable giving to your team. So these are going to be situations where people come by your office or send you a Teams message and either ask your opinion on something, they bring you an issue or a problem. These are all going to be responses that not only grow your team, but give you additional freedom. So the first phrase I want you to get comfortable saying is, what do you suggest? I'll link it in the show notes, but the Harvard Business Review article, Who's Got the Monkey, originally introduced me to the problem I was creating for myself as a COO. And this was trying to be, quote, helpful to my team. Any problem I was brought, I would try and solve myself for them. Or I knew how busy my team was, so I would try and take something off of their plate. If they had a problem, I would take care of it. Until pretty soon, I was swamped with door knocks and hey, you got a minute, right? The drive-bys. And until all of the plates I was spinning began to crash on the floor. It actually ended up hurting my team because they started missing deadlines because of me. So this is where this magic phrase becomes so powerful. I would get a drive-by, a hey, you got a minute, and they would fully explain the situation or dilemma they were facing. Eventually, I began responding with, what do you suggest? Alternative versions to this are, what are you thinking? Or what would you do? First, this takes the pressure off yourself to solve it for them. Second, it starts to build your team's critical thinking, their decision-making muscle. They start to get more comfortable solving their own problems. And third, it builds their confidence. Once they hear you say, I agree, let's do that. Or that's a great idea. Let me know if you need help implementing. They'll become more confident in making their own decisions and solving their own problems. Pretty soon, I wasn't even bothered. I was just filled in after the fact. The second phrase I want you to be comfortable saying to your team is, how do you feel about that? There are 2 uses for this question. The first is for your team. So many employees feel like they have to only express the facts to you, and that doesn't really give you a pulse on anything. It doesn't give you a pulse on employee satisfaction, client satisfaction, or even what their gut is telling them. So yes, these are all subjective, but knowing how your team member actually feels about something will give you insight into all of these. And additionally, it shows that you care about them, which goes a long way. That's how you develop loyalty. The second use for this question is with your entrepreneur. You asking them, how do you feel about that? Not a lot of people are asking CEOs how they feel about something. They, again, feel like they have to be factual, objective, strong in their decision-making. So when you ask your CEO as their second in command, how do you feel about that? You are going to get what their gut says, and it's going to strengthen your relationship because not many people are asking them. It'll give you a better view into how they are thinking, how they are feeling, and how you can best support them. And then the third phrase I want you to get comfortable saying is probably my favorite, and that is, when do you need an answer by? This is, again, purely from my own experience and shortcomings. I really hate to make important decisions under pressure. I am at my absolute best when I can give my initial thought, sit with it, evaluate whether or not my stance should change, and then give a final, thorough, and thoughtful response. If someone is standing in front of me waiting for something that's not a typical easy answer, I get flustered and frustrated. I feel like my back is getting put up against a wall and my brain has that typical amygdala takeover. So this is me giving you permission to take the time you need in decision making as you need it. When an employee comes to you, gives you all of the facts, and asks you how to proceed or what your response is, hit them with a "when do you need an answer by?" This gives you a deadline, but it also allows you to take the time you need. A hidden benefit is it also starts to train your team to understand that not everything is urgent. Even if it feels urgent, most things don't require a rushed response. As I was coming up through public accounting, one of the favorite things I ever heard was, "We're not surgeons, we're accountants." Of course, we have deadlines, but there is no such thing as an accounting emergency. And very similar in business, like I said, very few things actually require an urgent, rushed response. So I hope these 3 phrases are useful and you can just stick them in your toolbox to use with your team. To find show notes and links for anything mentioned in this episode, visit secondverse.com/37. Be sure to subscribe to catch future episodes and leave us a review on whatever platform you're listening on. Remember, you don't have to navigate being a second in command alone when you have the right-hand roadmap.